Yeah, so we're in this social media age, and I find that in this social media age, the zeitgeist of the day and the phrases or the sayings of the day are all to do with, are you succeeding, or are you, no, sorry, that's wrong. Are you winning, or are you losing? Yeah, are you a winner, or are you a loser? And me personally, I've had these conversations with people that, to be honest with you, I don't buy into anything of this day and age, because I grew up in the 80s and in the 90s when times were real, like people were real. We didn't have all this social media, okay? People were real, the times were real, people were more community oriented, you know? We had real food, real music. We knew what life was all really about. You know, I've got a 5-year-old, and I say to people all the time, I remember when I was 5 years old and we were all playing outside on the street, you know, playing Kirby and hopscotch and eating ice cream, and we didn't need our mother and our father and all our parents and all the elders like hovering over us, yeah, supervising and monitoring absolutely our playtime, like absolutely everything we're doing. You know, we were more free, you know, and we had real genuine friends. We made our own friendships, friend groups. We were playing out till all 12 o'clock midnight, running around on the streets at like 4 and 5 years old. And obviously that's just not the done way, you know, anymore. Obviously things have changed that much. But I'm sorry to say, all these Gen Zs and all these millennials, you know, they all go on social media, you know, they all know how to hack into people's phones and spy on people's phones and, you know, do the makeup like 1,000 times more professional than the professionals and all of this, you know. And, you know, they think that this is what life is, but I'm sorry, this day and age, this is not life to me. I know what real life is. This is not real life. So, to get back to my point, I don't buy into, basically, I think all of this society today, it's just like one big fake illusion. I just think society today, that's my I wouldn't say belief, my mindset. I just think it's one big fake illusion. So all this, you know, are you a winner? Are you winning? Or are you losing? I don't buy into all of that, because the reason being, we all come into this world, you know, we're here to live our life, you know, and to make the most of what we have, to make the most of life, to be happy, you know, to find love. Life's supposed to be about happiness, fun times, good times, memories with your family, growing, you know. And yeah, there is competition, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously when you go to school, college, uni, you're competing with your peers. Yeah, there is competition, but I've never been this person to be like, I've never really been a competitive person. I am competitive, I am ambitious, but my mindset is I'm competing with myself, you know, because it's my life, you know, and what I want may not be the same as what another person wants. We're two different people with different gifts, yeah, and different perspectives, different wants and needs in life. So all this, like, you know, are you winning, are you losing? Not only that, yes, just think of all the million, billion people across the world. Some people, they're starving right now. They're just, you know, they don't even have a roof over their head. They've got no food to eat, you know, they're starving, you know, where other people on the other side of the world, they're living in top mansions, you know, they've got so much money, or they might have family heirlooms passed down to them, inherited wealth. So how can somebody who's literally got nothing be competing in the same world as someone who's been given everything? on a silver plate. You know, there's so much, society itself is rigged, okay, and it's rigged in certain people's favour, you know. So my mindset is, life is not about winning or losing, unless obviously you're a sports competitor, you know, then it is about winning or losing, you know, or something like this, you know. But my mindset is more so the belief that you should question and ask yourself, are you succeeding or are you failing in life? That is my mindset, because you can set out to accomplish something, your goal that you've set for yourself, and you either succeed at that thing or you fail at that thing. So I pertain more so to that mindset of success or failure, more so than winning or losing. I don't really believe in this, oh, are you winning or losing? I think it's more about, are you succeeding in life or are you failing in life? And neither do I view myself as a loser, and neither do I view myself as a failure, because as long as you've got breath in your lungs, as long as there's always tomorrow, you know, you always have the next day to do what it is you need to do to accomplish your goals. Yeah, so knowing what I know now about having a singing career, and not just singing, but singing, drama, acting, music, the whole entertainment industry in general, you know, yeah. Knowing what I know now and going through what I went through in terms of my experiences, I think if I was to do anything differently, I would have just done the whole thing differently. And to start out, when I first started out on these ventures, I would have just turned myself into like a sex kitten, you know, a sex doll. I would have just like became a stripper or a lap dancer or something, because I've come to realise that music, I think I was more so focusing on my talent, you know, my voice, my singing. But realistically, I think that whole industry, being a female, being a woman, it's more so to do with your looks, your appearance and your sex appeal, and just turning yourself into, like, you know, a sexual fantasy for men. Really, I think that's what I should have done. I would have become more successful in those ventures if I would have approached it from that angle, you know. And also, in hindsight, another thing, I never had like a clear set goal. I never had a clear direction, like, okay, well, you know, I want like a recording contract, or I want to get signed with this label. You know, I didn't do like music research into the industry. So, okay, well, you know, I want to be signed with this record label, you know, or I want this 3-year contract with such and such person, you know, and get a manager and an agent and all of this shenanigans, you know, to help me pursue my ventures in this area. But in saying that is my whole point also, is that why I don't consider myself in these ventures either a success or failure, because really and truly, in all honesty, I don't think I ever really tried. I never really, it's not that I didn't get anywhere, I never really tried in the first place, really, you know. I was kind of, I was like starting out, you know, and initiating some creative ventures, but I've never really actively sought out this kind of thing, what I'm talking about. Like, I've never really, even in terms of acting, I've never really got myself an agent, you know, to help me look for work. and I've never really gone on like casting calls and auditions. And the same with music. I never had a clear set goal definition, not to say, okay, well, you know, I'm going to go in the studio, work with this person, create these songs, and then I want a record label by the time I'm this age, or I want this like recording contract by the time I'm this age. Or I never really actively sought out performance gigs, you know, at places like, for example, Glastonbury, you know, and done my research into, you know, venues, reputable and recognisable venues that I could have performed at. So I'm trying to make myself clear, but I'm not making myself very clear. So this is what I'm saying is, you know, if you go back to my previous like 2 videos, this is what I was trying to say, that I never really it's like I just started, it's like I just made myself known. In my view, my perspective is that I've never really even ventured in these areas in the entertainment industry. You know, I don't even really, the things that I have done, these written works that I've done and these shows that I've done, that in my book was nothing. You know, I hadn't even done anything really yet. I was just starting out. But my emphasis and my point, and the reason why I'm doing these videos is because in my area, it was like as soon as I'd done this particular show, especially this one particular show I did at the Repertory Theatre, it was as soon as I'd done that show, I just got all this sort of negativity and backlash I felt in my community and in my area. And this is I'm probably my brain's not awake yet, but what I'm saying is, it was like I couldn't understand like this reception that I was getting from people, because I just was getting this sort of like, it was like hatred I'm talking about in my area, okay? I was just getting this hatred from people for things that I'd done, you know. So for example, I'll give you an example. I was talking about my brother and his girlfriend and how she's got an amazing voice, and they started doing these gigs and this and that, and she'd be going on Facebook and people were like leaving their comments and say, oh, you did really well, oh, you got an amazing voice and this and that. And probably 6 months prior to that, I was uploading shows that I'd performed in myself, because I was trying to collate together my portfolio, and not one person could leave a comment. Not one person could say, yeah, you did really good there, like, I really liked that, you know, on social media. I was just getting this, like, just being frowned upon, you know, by my peers, in other words. You know, I was getting recognition from the top professionals who were already in the industry, but in terms of my peers, people who were on the same level as myself, I was just being like, I was just getting a lot of like being frowned upon, and just a lot of like negativity. You know, not even one person could rate and say, yeah, well done, you did, you know, you did good there, I really liked that, what you did, you know. But all of a sudden, my brother's girlfriend comes from nowhere, comes from Manchester to Birmingham on the scene, and everyone's like loving and lapping up everything she's doing. I'm being funny, but you know, she's got an amazing voice, I will say that. But the work that I was putting on, the shows that I was doing, I know myself, I can contest myself, I know how damn good they were, how hot they were, and how professional all the elements were coming together for my shows. But like, not one person could vouch and say, yeah, that was you know, that was spot on, like work that you did there. You know, in terms of my peers, none of my peers could come to me and say that. You know, I was just getting this like this shunning, you know, this shunting and this shunning, you know, being subtly like disassociated from, you know, in this community hub of creatives, You know, this is what was going on. Yeah, it was a subtle form of shunning and excluding me. Yeah, it's like I was being subtly excluded. That's what I'm trying to say. Wake up, brain. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, I'd done my shows. After I'd done my shows, I was pursuing my music. But what I was finding was that I was the one who I was getting jealousy from other people, but they were doing this role reversal thing to make it seem as if I was jealous of them. And what these people were doing was like subtly shunning me and excluding me. And it's like I was being excluded from that creative community hub in my area. That's what I'm trying to say. Hello, yeah, so it's in the morning and my sentences are not coming together properly, so but I'm trying to make my point clear, and hopefully my point's getting clear. So to go back to this course, this new Access to Music course that I'd started, yeah, so I was doing that, and I just wasn't, after a while I just wasn't feeling the course. And I think even that we had to do like so half of the course we were working in groups. We were put into bands and we were like creating music like this, live music. And the other half of the course was we were using the software tools, not Cubase. I think, is it Pro Tools, Logic and Pro Tools, I think it was. And I just remember one time like sitting there in the classroom on this like little keyboard thing with the computer thing in front of me, and I was just like, I've already done this, you know, because when I was on my A-levels many years prior, I'd done a music course. I'd done a music. We had to use is it Cubase? Yeah, I think it was Cubase. Producing our own music on Cubase. You know, and the songs that I created even then were really good. And I was just like, I've done this before, you know. I know all about this. And I think I was just getting like, I just want to sing, and I just need to meet a producer to produce the music that I can lay my vocals on top of, you know. I just, you know, that's how I was feeling. And I think the teachers on the course as well started to recognise, obviously I think I was the most maturest student on the course, you know. And I think the teachers started to recognise that, okay, she's more mature than the other students, and she's already been teacher, like she's already a teacher, you know, she's already got a degree, and she's already got a master's degree, so why's she on this course with a bunch of 18-year-olds doing this course? I just, you know, it's nothing anybody personally said to me, but, you know, all the time in my videos I'm talking about vibes. You know, you can just feel vibes, can't you? And those are the vibes that I was getting, both from the teachers and from the other students. And I think this course started in January actually, and I was only there for about 2-3 months. But I think deep down initially, all I had in my mind was about returning to America, to go and live, to emigrate to America. And I didn't stay very long on that course, because that is what I did. Eventually I left, because I went back to America to live. So, as I said, what's going on is that I'm starting to get more clear about what it is, you know, how to go about what it is I want to do. Because sometimes, you know, life is like that. You have a goal in mind, but you don't know, you know what it is you want to do, but you don't know how, you know. And how comes along as you're going along with this thing, as you're proceeding and progressing in doing this thing. You know, the how comes about, manifests itself. So, and I think that's what was happening. You know, I started to get more clear about what it is I wanted to do and what I needed to do in terms of my music, in terms of my singing and my songs. So when I got to America, I think up until that time, what I'd been trying to do was, like I said, put together my portfolio of performances. So I had a few random stuff, and I'd uploaded it onto my website, and I thought, yeah, I can use this website as like my promotional tool to approach other musicians when I get to America and start working on my songs like properly this time, because I think that's how I was, I was just like messing around, experimenting, trying out different ideas, I thought, and working on my songs in order to produce, in order to go into the studio, pay some professionals and work with some professionals and perfect. For example, like obviously when you do music, you create your demos. Once you've got your demos, you then remaster them and rework them, don't you? So that's what I was doing. I had my demos, I took my demos and my website with me when I went to America, and I said, okay, now I'm going to remaster, I'm going to go in the studio, work with the producer and remaster and rework them. So when I got to America, as I said, another issue that I was finding, which has always been an issue, was finances, and finances always been an issue as well. So obviously we all know America's like a massive country. It's much larger than the UK, and I was in a new state, large state, and I didn't know the place, and I was having to navigate and learn the roads and different counties, different parts, making my way around. So I think I went on Craigslist and contacted a few producers to meet up with them and get in the studio and work on my songs, and I found one of them. He lived very, very far from where I was living, and it was just a mission to get anywhere, so I never ended up meeting up with him. It was just a mission to get anywhere, like I said. But we spoke a few times over the phone, and initially he seemed quite receptive. I think I sent him my website. At first he seemed very receptive and on board. After a while, I just found that he started being sarcastic. He probably wasn't being sarcastic, he was probably telling the truth, but I just took it that he was being sarcastic, because then he started telling me about his mum and saying, oh, his mum's not feeling very well and this and that. And so this is what I'm talking about music. I think after a while, I think music, it's very male dominated, like a lot of industries. A lot of the entertainment industry is very male dominated, and as a woman, as a black female woman, you just come up against a lot of like sarcasm, mockery, and people trying to dominate you and tell you what to do and put you in your place. If you approach that industry with quite a strong mind and having firm understanding of what it is you want to do, I really say kudos to all the credible women in the music industry who have made it, because they're the ones that have sifted and passed through all the bullshit, because there is a lot of bullshit in those industries, as I'm saying, especially as a female, especially as a black female, and it's a task just to get past all the bullcrap of people taking your ideas seriously, taking you seriously as a person. So after a while, this is just what I started to find, and you've really got to be thick-skinned, keep trudging on, and really have that self-belief in yourself and your own ideas. Because if you don't, and keep yourself motivated, because if you don't, you just get like trodden on, and you just get taken the piss out of, basically. And that's the stage I was getting to, where You know, it was really trying and testing my patience, because I was just finding after a while that people that I was approaching, I was just getting these subtle forms of, to cut very like long story short, you know, I was just getting a lot of subtle forms of A, racism, B, ageism, C, sexism, and D, just bullshit, just bullcrap. Yeah, and I was getting to the stage where I just started thinking, you know what, I'm just gonna pay the money when I'm ready. I'm just gonna go into the studio, find a professional producer who knows what he's doing, just go in the studio and find the musicians that I want to work with, just pay the musicians, you know, to work on my songs. And yeah, and start gigging. Because my thing as well, I've always been interested in live performance. I was never really interested in uploading like my songs onto SoundCloud or any of these or Spotify or any of these websites. I've always been about live performance. So I think that was this kind of direction that I started thinking about. I said, you know what, I'm just going to pay musicians, pay the producer, work on my songs, and start booking some gigs to perform around. Yeah, so to conclude, after so many months I returned back to the UK, and I did literally that. I found a producer and started going in the studio to work on my songs, and then lo and behold, this dude was all, oh yeah, I've worked with like Celine Dion and this person and Beyonce and this person and that person, you know, this and that. And the studio that I was going to is quite prolific one in Birmingham, where people like Jamelia and Little Mix, they go to record their songs. And once again, I just was experiencing this elitism, mainly from this dude and the two people that, there was a guy there who said he owned the studio, or his parents owned the studio, whatever. I just kept coming across this elitist bullshit, you know. And this producer, he was all like, oh, well, I just found him a bit, his communication was a bit two-way, so I couldn't really understand where he was coming from, because in one breath he was saying, I've worked with this person and I've worked with that person, and you know, if you're gonna come in the studio and work on your songs, you know, you need to spend the time, you know, to put the music together, this and that, you know, it's time consuming, you know, and time equals money, in other words, is what he was trying to say. And then he was like, you know, like he started, you know, educating me and saying, you know, your songs are really good, and I could see, you know, your songs being performed at the Grammys, saying this kind of thing to me. And he was like, if you personally don't sing on your songs, how do you feel if somebody else was singing your songs instead? Like, how do you feel about that, like just being like the writer and somebody else singing your songs? Says, to be honest with you, I would love that. I would love to hear, you know, somebody else, even more professional than myself, hearing, you know, singing my songs. You know, I wouldn't mind that at all. But this like how the conversation was going.
Stop.
And,
what are you doing, Stabby?
And then he was like, yeah, but I want to work with you, you know, because your songs are really good, and I want to work on your songs, but you can't afford my services like this. This is literally what he said. And I just felt pretty offended, because I just kind of was thinking, well, how does this dude know from Adam whether I can afford his services or not? I was thinking, if all this dude knows, okay, I could have won the lottery last week. I could have £1 million in my bank account right now, so why is he just presuming right now that I can't afford his services? Yeah, this is how he was coming off. So he was coming off like that, but then in another breath, in one breath he was like fobbing me off, saying he couldn't work with me because I couldn't afford his services. But then in another breath, he was saying, yeah, he wants to work with me because my songs are really good and he can see them being performed at the Grammys next year and this and that. So I was just like, basically, he was about 10 years older than me. Black dude, good looking black dude, very like athletic. I think he does a bit of martial arts and this kind of thing, this and that. Not my type, but he was very good looking. And he was about, like I said, he was about 10 years older than me. And I thought, do you know what? This kind of dude, he seems more like somebody my sister would be interested in. So I thought, let my sister come along with me. She can meet this dude. Maybe them two, you know, can hit it off or make a date or something like this. And that's basically what happened with that scenario. He became friends with my sister, just like on a friendly term, friendship basis, because she's like 10 years older than me and this dude's like 10 years older than me, and I was just getting bored of being fobbed off and getting all this ageism, you know, from people who were like 10 and 15 years older than me. You know, all this ageism and all this bullshit. You know, it's just bullshit. So I thought, well, if that's how you want to come off, then you can meet my sister, yeah, who looks younger than me, but who's actually like 10 years older than me, you know, and maybe you two can date each other and get it on with each other, yeah, because you're not really my type, you know, he's just a bit ego-filled. And that is eventually just the conclusion that I started to come to, that all these musicians and people that I was meeting, I just was finding them very extremely pretentious, you know, because I'm not a pretentious person, okay, but I was just finding them phony, pretentious, arty-farty. I just had enough of a lot of them, really, of the whole thing, really, because I'm not really a pretentious person. I'm not a phony person, you know, and I'm not fake, pretentious, phony, you know, and all this, like, with their elitist behaviours. I know myself, I know who I am, you know, I stay in my level, and I know my capabilities, you know, I know my talents, my gifts, what I'm capable. I know what I'm not capable of, and I know what I am capable of, you know, so I don't need to prove. I was just starting to feel in like, you know, I don't need to prove myself to these pretentious ponces. They're just all a bunch of pretentious ponce people. So and that in itself, just to be honest with you, just put me off the whole industry, because I started to really question my lifestyle and think, you know what, if I'm actually even going to make it in this industry, I'm just going to be around a bunch of people like these pretentious ponce, up their own arse, elitist, phony, fake ass people, and I don't want to be around people like this. So it's better I maybe just pursue other ventures and other avenues in life. And I think that's the conclusion that I came to. And so many years later, you know, I've got my lifestyle chav chat channel on YouTube. So as I said, tune into part 1, part 2, part 3. This is part 4 of why singing didn't happen and what actually did happen, how not to make it in the music industry. And have a look, check out some of my other videos. Yeah, and by the way, I'm actually now qualified PT coach and life coach, and if you'd like to book a life coaching session with me, then get in touch. I'll leave my email in the description. But I hope that you're having a wonderful, blessed day. For once, can you believe it, this UK weather, for once the sun is coming out. Look at the sky, it's so beautiful, gorgeous, look at that. Yeah, so I'm heading home now to have some mushroom soup and bagel buns. Delicious. So yeah, have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Oh, what kind of silly timer is that? Silly timer.